Hello, legal eagles. I kind of want to say that because that was what we were doing. Hello! It is time to once again embrace the objections and the hold-its and take that. Because we are going back to Ace Attorney. And we'll be playing some Ace Attorney for the foreseeable future on Fridays. And we'll see if we'll expand the Ace Attorney streams once we're done with Nier. But for now, Fridays will be more Ace Attorney. Yes, Pix, it is that time. It is time. Tell everyone, because today we're going to have some amazing voice acting by yours truly. It's been a minute since I did some voice acting. Last time was, I believe it was One Shot. No, it was Edgeworth. Edgeworth was the last time I did some voice acting. And yeah, so cards on the table. This is my least favorite Ace Attorney game. It's still good though, despite the fact that it is my least favorite. That is more the fact that I am not too fond of Apollo compared to Phoenix. But it has its own merits things. Like, the game has a lot of cool characters. So yes. And tell everyone to do the same. Because this is worth it. This is worth it. And I think we're just going to go straight into it. Well, there's actually not a silver lining in that sense. I mean, well, the silver lining is that the characters like around Apollo are amazing. I mean, the assistant we get in this game, she is adorable. And she's a treasure on, like, she's not quite in the lines of the same level as Pearls. But she's almost there. That's well, the same level as Kay. Like, I would say she and Kay are about the same level because Pearls is like, you know, most adorable kid. But today we're gonna have another one to add to the list of adorable kids in this game. But that is not to say that there will not be feels. Depends if we do get to finish the first case. Like, well, the first case that is not a, you know, tutorial. The tutorial isn't like really much for feels, but the next one is. So, let's get into it. And enjoy yourselves some wonderful. Yeah, I do. But not as many today. So. Or maybe it is this one that has a bunch of heals. Oh gods, that is loud. Showtime. I seem to be in a bit of a trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cop should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that? Yes, Pix, we are going there already. And it's going to be amazing. Panicked! Oh, I'm sweaty. I can admit it, I'm nervous. Ah, good morning. Okay, good morning, sir. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wound up, sir? No, I'm loose. I'm fine. That screeching noise, is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial is a homicide. Hell, I guess justice doesn't sound small, eh? I'm fine! I got up at 5 AM to do my Court of Steel voice workout. I'm fine! It's going to be fine, just like justice. Well, that explains it. I detect a certain amount of rasping quality in your screech. I overdid it again. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down. If you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. As it happens, I dined with him in the light of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes. I'm fine, sir. Fine. Oh, and one more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. My name is Apollo Justice. If it wasn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. Today, it's my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. It's been what, Pix? 5 minutes? And you already run into the automod. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course. And so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him! No way! Whoa! Good morning. Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial. Nervous. Meeting him. Cardiac arrest. I think I'm supposed to say something. Oh, I should. You know what? My hair is getting in my way, so just move it a little bit. Because Apollo is.
You're lower the volume or something?
It's that loud? Okay, I will lower the volume as well. Because, you know, this guy induces, like, Apollo Justice induces a lot of movement in him because he is just like that all the time. He's like super nervous and, you know, doing Courts of Steel and all that stuff. It's in character. Like, he's like one, like, nervous wreck, really. Like, worse than Phoenix. At least Phoenix has confidence to go with his bluffs. Like, Apollo doesn't. Help! So, you're fine! I'm fine! Oh, right, I was going to do like this. Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me. Mr. Gavin's a top-notch defense attorney, and he's our friend, so why? You'll see. Huh? You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, it's time. Shall we? Yes, sir. Oh, and I got some. We're trying something new today. Some Japanese whiskey. Not because I need it, but because I want to try it. Oh yes, Pix. You'll get your questions answered. There's a reason for this. Okay, I need to focus. First trial. Here comes justice!
I'll be perfectly honest, it's nice that you have such a good voice acting, but you're blowing my ears off.
I'm sorry. It's like this is really just his personality. He is like this. At least that's how I see him. The court is now in session. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is is fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor. Oh, I'm going panic. I don't panic. Too late. Your name was Mr. Justice? And this is your first trial? Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine, really. Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strange. Oh, Mr. Gavin. Yes, Your Honor. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always see to his client's wishes, and my client specifically requested justice. Well, of course he wants justice, but to entrust his case to a greenhorn, why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine. But does he have Court of Steel? Then, let us begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. Yes, Winston Payne. Well, a Payne at least. This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Mr. Wright, how could this happen to you? How happened? I won't speak of it any further then. If the prosecution would be as too kind as to explain the charges. Mr. Payne?
To think I saw you enter this room as a fresh attorney. Now, I will see you leave in chains.
Ah, Winston Payne. Subtle as ever I see.
The crime occurred at the Brasha Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, shook the victim, a customer, and hit him. Wham! On the head, smack. Killed him cold.
A customer at a restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was?
The pianist of the club, it seems.
Phoenix Wright, a pianist?
This is the weapon that took the victim's life, a bottle of wine.
I refuse to call it grape juice.
Wine is apparently a defendant's drink of choice.
Well, the court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. Something of note, Justice. All evidence, tutorial stuff. So, the victim was a customer at this restaurant. Let's see, so we have Felix Prince. Do we have anything else? And now we're back with this like examination mechanic.
Also, by the way, your music is actually really loud.
It's still loud. Wow. How about now? Let's see, crime photo. No, I'm not going to do it like that because it's kind of difficult for me to do that. I mean, I could just like turn on like a monitor for myself. Yeah, it sounds fine to pics, so I'll try that. Is there anything else that we have to? Yeah, the autopsy. Single blow to the forehead. Okay. But just who was this, Sadie Smith fellow?
We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor.
A traveler?
According to his passport, he had passed out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to his country recently, though his place of residence is unclear.
Ah, he had some sort of connection with the defendant?
too is unclear at present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Brushed Cabal Club on the night of the crime.
If they had just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing?
That doesn't appear to be the case. No, the motive was nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skills. At least, not piano playing. I'll let the floater explain what I mean. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Wait a second, isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself.
Indeed, it appears the defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal.
It is true the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim, yet it was only that, a game. In the purest sense, a competition, Your Honor.
A competition?
Yes, a test of wits. A silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, would know the final outcome. Come again?
The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women.
That will be our first order of business here, then, to find out more about this fatal game of cards. I like this whiskey is amazing. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held to the night of the crime. You're not supposed to testify against your against yourself, but hey. My pleasure. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing. Which hat? Phoenix hat or? I'm a pianist by trade. Well, yet I hardly play at all. My real job is to take uninterested customers over to the poker table. The room where we play and the competition are the club's main attraction. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That is all it is. A game. And all our customers are happy. What about it? A pianist who can't play piano.
Better than a defense attorney who can't defend.
Oh, Winston. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Right, Your Honor. My first cross-examination. Don't blow it. Are you alright? You are sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy too. My brain feels very strained and raspy, sir. You have watched me perform cross-examinations many times, though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher? What do I do? Should I ask you again for a course? No, we don't need one. No need for that there, sir. I think I've got this one covered. I think you'd better do more than think. You know it, or you do not. I'm fine. The court of steels are ready for battle. My weapons, present. Find any inconsistencies and lies in the testimony. Oh. Nothing happened. Inconsistencies? Lies? Phoenix Wright? As if. Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Oh, this like this song here is just like doot 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 doot. Hold it! You can hardly play. Oh, I play sometimes when customers demand it. So I play them one song. That's usually all they want. Hello, Moina! Welcome. Was that supposed to be a boat just now? I'm doing it with a little bit of intention, Pix. The title of pianist is a mask, a respectable face I wear for the world at large. Then why are we really at a brushed bowl club? I will grin a lot in this game. They pay you just to play poker? That would seem to be the case. I'm a professional after all.
Ah, do I detect some pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine.
Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston.
What?
I played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I never lost. Never lost once.
What?
You see why the customers come now. Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw.
Wait, you never lost once? Not even one time?
As I said, I'm a professional.
He's played poker for 7 years and never lost once? Is that even possible?
Oh yes, Mina. You know, it's not an Ace Attorney game without Winston Payne being your opponent in the tutorial case. That streak has never... Oh well, that is a streak that has yet to be broken.
No wonder he's never lost with all his bluffs and total ass pulls.
Yep. The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction. It's got quite a history, actually. The Brush Ball Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day.
Black market?
All in the past, things like the black market are only on the silver screens nowadays. Suffice to say, there are a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there, in that room.
A smoky room. Gambling hoods. You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel bad.
The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watch through its small window. I can practically picture it now. That window just seemed like a good spot to be keeping a lookout for, but little else. The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge between our regulars. At any rate, they come and play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. Two decks of cards? A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards.
There's something else that I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor.
Precisely. Cards on the table, cards on the floor. Each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we used 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other was blue.
As I recall, in poker you make 5 card hands. I can see how it'd be easy to cheat.
Yes, a game of hands.
This competition you're talking about. I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently.
That's right. It was a simple game after all.
Are you sure? Huh? People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, You were in the room the very moment that crime occurred, yet you claim to have no connection to the crime?
Now, that's strange.
What's strange?
I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking you about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expect to hear a cry of objection from the defense.
I completely let that one slip me by.
Don't despair yet, Justice.
Sir?
Right. There's something I'd like to make clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand, and I'd like to hear it from you. Sure, why not?
Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony.
Just one little press, and I've got myself a whole new testimony. I plead silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon.
Silence?
The defendant has the right to refuse to testify. I haven't forgotten everything about the law.
But why?
That clearly puts you at an disadvantage. And it's your job to turn that into our favor, yes?
Great.
Like I didn't have enough to do already? Justice. Didn't you detect something odd about that testimony?
Huh? Wait, something you said did ring a little strangely. Just one thing.
Now what was it? When you figure it out, I'd suggest presenting evidence. Evidence that contradicts the testimony.
A contradiction in Mr. Wright's testimony? But why? I better check the court record. I can't imagine Mr. Wright was lying in a testimony.
It's a little bit early to be jumping at conclusions. This is your first cross-examination, so take it slow. If you need more information, don't forget to press.
Right, I got it. I'm fine.
Time to listen to that testimony again.
So, you say you didn't touch the murder weapon? This wine bottle, right?
So I said?
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb.
What's this, Mr. Payne?
I examined the bottle in question, you see, and it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints.
Objection! No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine.
Excess yelling can damage a judge's ears and our case.
But what about my court of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about the fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant? Well, that's true. The prints alone don't prove.
Ow! But they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints.
Huh?
But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down.
Upside down? What does that mean?
It means he was holding the bottle inverted. And there can only be one reason to that.
Oh god, I'm looking forward to finishing this one though, because Winston Payne is a pain. I just have to keep drinking to keep my voice nice and smooth through Winston Payne's ramblings.
Yes, to brain someone with a bottle.
Oh! Mr. Gavin, I think things took a turn for the worse.
Oh, I see no problem, Justice.
Huh?
The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything, you'll see.
Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court?
I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now.
Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case.
I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason.
Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something.
Then what might that be, Mr. Gavin?
The night of the crime, who was it who reported a murder to police?
Reported?
Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright.
But still that? Really?
Yes, well, according to the case file.
The murder was reported from near the scene of the crime by a call from the defendant's cell phone. Near the scene?
Let's take a look at the diagram of the murder scene, shall we?
The victim was murdered in a small room in the basement, 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get a reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor into the restaurant.
I see. And this phone that made the call?
The defendant can just have fled the scene of the crime if you so choose. Yet he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative. I say, Mr. Gavin, I better not waste this. I think the prosecution has toyed with their client for enough for the time being.
Toyed? I assure you, one is more no one is more serious about.
What was it you said? The defendant was in the room in the very moment the crime occurred? How can you possibly know this?
That's a good question. How indeed?
The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness.
You're as good as they say you are.
Someone else was in the room at the night of crime? That must mean the witnessed the crime. Everything up until now has just been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready?
Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand.
The witness will state her name and her profession.
Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness?
No, I surmise that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns.
So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people.
Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off.
You are sure? You are sure?
I swear on my gavel. Please come out.
Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor? Well, if you are sure, it's okay. So, I have no idea how to do more like a Russian accent, so I apologize for butchering it. But hey.
Wait a minute. Wouldn't the prosecution care to explain this witness, paraphernalia?
Yes. She's a professional, Your Honor. These are merely the tools of her trade.
And that would be?
My name is Olga Riley. I am employed as a waitress at the Borscht's Bowl Club restaurant.
Then, why the camera?
Of course. It is my pride to serve borscht at this naming restaurant. But I always perform, other service.
I take it one of these other services is taking the customer's pictures.
Da. Like for example this one.
That's the defendant.
Indeed, on the night of the murder.
Man in white hat is one who has gone kaput.
Indeed, that is the victim. Order! This is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop into our laps.
It is same way I drop gold bowls of borscht on laps of customers, casually.
Then this court will casually accept this new evidence.
Stay calm and drink water.
Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder?
I was in the room, the hideout we call it. Excuse me? Hideout? His room where famous gangster bad guy was arrested. His room where murder took place. What? Your look of utter surprise, it is lovely. I will post my courtroom door later for you. Photos will be numbered, and you will write which ones you want a copy of. So, there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Sally Smith, and Mr. Wright, and Olga O'Reilly, our witness. And if Mr. Wright is the killer, that means... Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events. That night, a customer asked me to deal cards for a game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on. The victim, he plays the whole time with his hand on a locket at his neck. Then, last a hand down, but something terrible has happened. That man flew at the victim and strangling him to death. And we already have our first lie. Incidentally, who won the game?
Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith.
That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice? Maybe I can come up with a more legitimate objection. But he hadn't lost in 7 years.
Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as a prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. These are the poker chips as they lay at the moment of the crime. The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith.
Chips, you say?
I mean, yes! Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army and chips are the spoils.
Well, I know that. After all, in my youth I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3. I think he means poker face. Looking at this picture, it seems that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. Yeah. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. This whiskey was amazing. I don't even need to press this one.
Wait, you had your whiskey in the coffee cup?
No,
Oh.
I have it in this little... I'm not even sure what kind of glass this is. It's not like a glass for whiskey, but it serves its purpose.
Oh, the whiskey was good. I've already had all of it though.
Yes, I am a little bit more like I relax it. Take it a little bit slowly. Oh, really? Strangle, you say? That's odd. Normal customers only joke on borscht. No, I mean this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Miss O'Reilly, really now? Did you witness the crime? Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
Yet it is the fact that he was hit, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Wait, thinks aloud turns game up. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the monitoring here to like hear myself speak as well as the everything else, just so I can, you know, compare everything. I'll select this. And yeah.
Well, that is quite shocking, isn't it? This head certainly was hit.
Oh, I see. I'm gonna turn back the so I don't hear myself, like everything in doubles. Ah, I see.
But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he landed the victim, his neck.
Oh, really, Miss O'Reilly? I think I had caught you in your own lie this time. Justice, I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more.
What do you mean? I found a contradiction.
There's one thing in her testimony that, well, troubles me.
Very well. It seems that we should continue the cross-examination. There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it.
There's such a thing as thinking out loud too much too.
It didn't say anything about hitting before. So sorry. I must be forgetting this. Da. Witness, you will take greater care with your testimony. Da. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
And that clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant made to strangle his victim, then change his mind, and choose a simpler, blunter means to do the job. Yes, that sums it up nicely.
So, he strangled him, then hit him? Something's fishy about all this.
Go ahead. I believe you know what it is you need to do.
Right, sir, leave it to me. There's only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder.
Ah, well.
You know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean? Mr. Justice, will you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about? Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on a locket at his neck, I believe she said.
I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar.
No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck?
Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this.
But what does it mean?
Shadi Smith.
Yep.
Just like Olga O'Reilly.
If we are to believe this witness testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets just don't disappear, Your Honor.
It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone's taken it off, no?
Taking it off? Wait, you don't mean...
The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it?
Oh! Ah! Defendant, what do you have to say to this? Say.
Yes?
I just noticed this, but...
You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Kestup is our mentor. You assume so much, Pix. That was the last of my whiskey. Oh, you mean this? Yes, it's a locket with a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter. Come again? Mr. Wright, you have a daughter?
We confirmed at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter.
So Mr. Wright has a locket too? Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence? Who is Cannon? Who was the ship? Who did we ship him with? That is the focus of everyone. Who is the girl? Who is the wife? Who is the true path? Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more of the outcome of the game.
Further testimony won't really be necessary. It is clear the defendant lost. Badly.
Miss O'Reilly, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and the defendant. I love people's reactions here. Why do you hate it, Pegs? Because like you're just left with more and more questions? Like we answer one thing and a couple of more just appear and you want to know everything? The game began with 3,500 points in chips for each man. Those chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was victim. For Rasta, defendant played all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs the bottle from table and... and you will keep from doing refrains and doing some things. Right? Indeed, looking at this picture. Well, it would seem to be a one-sided game.
As the court knows, the poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow.
Ah, how many times have I heard these words? I've done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I've done. Well, a common tale, but true. Methinks Judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright says he hasn't lost in 7 years, so his testimony must be wrong. This testimony must be wrong. So, there's a total of 7,000 points in the pot. The thing is, though, if we check on this here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 black chips, and there are 6 red chips. Those chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning was the victim. No. Okay. It does contradict the evidence. You just have to, you know, perform simple math. Oh well. I guess we're gonna have to press on this one first. You're telling me that Mr. Wright, undefeated was 7 whole years, was, you know, losing? It must have been a most unlucky day for him. I'm glad I did not take other picture of him. A black camera, certainly. The chips, they went always to victim's side of the table.
So, you're saying it was a one-sided game?
Da, one-sided and... For the last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. Last hand? It was largest points of any hand. The defendant's hand was excellent. He tried to use it to take victory from behind. It appears that both the defendant and the victim's hands are in this picture. That is truly an excellent hand. However, so is the victim's. One with highest number wins, so defendant loses.
The victim, Mr. Smith, had a stronger hand than the defendant and crushed him. I believe that explains what occurred next.
Once cards lay down on table, it happened. And what happened next? Even to think of it now, I shake and tremble. Duh! I do not believe such a thing would happen. What such a thing? Please, you must believe. I have no idea. How could such a thing occur? What such thing? Niet. The defendant had been hitting the victim. Duh! I saw it happen right before me. I saw a bottle coming down on the victim's head.
Decisive, isn't it, Your Honor? My witness saw the very moment of the crime.
Remember, you first go to gather information. Yes, sir. Contradiction. Here comes justice. Okay. Are those the usual starting points? Were there any special rules used? No, nothing special. Usual game, usual rules. If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total will be, exactly 7,000 points. Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. Oh no. Okay. Like 6,400 euros for a kotatsu. I'd expect it to be cheaper though. I mean, 6,400, but at the same time it's a table, so there's that, I guess. We must resist. We will not buy kotatsu. Are the chips in the photos all the chips that were used? Duh, of course. Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder? Maybe you could explain a bit more about these chips? Explain. What is there to explain?
Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips. Not a chip off the old block yet.
Thanks. Let her press her, but ask her something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars, rubles, or even? Yet, as I've been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Or perhaps for a capitalist to understand. 2 types of chips. 100 points and 1,000 points chips. It is not money, da. Justice. Sir! Don't you find her comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I had her added to the testimony myself. Well, does the defense want her to add it to her testimony? Yes, I think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. Very well. Witness, if you'll be so kind. Da, Your Honor. Are you sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure?
It seems our new attorney is a bit confused.
Exactly. That's like kinda how it is. with Apollo.
A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won if you're not in kindergarten.
I think it's just Vincent Payne trying to have hair, despite, you know, like going bald and stuff. Like he's in denial.
Oh, for the safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. In this photo I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points?
Why, the big ones, of course. Duh.
Oh, I thought so too, but then the totals don't add up.
The totals?
Let's review what the witnesses told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips. The combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points?
Yes, if my calculations are correct. Now let's see. 3 plus 1 carry the 5.
They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up,
How much is it?
do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. Those chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness testimony.
But why? How could this be?
Exactly, Justice. Now that you know what, you must determine the why. Right, there's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. Each man began with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can be only one answer.
Well, what is it?
The value of the chips was the other way around.
What?
Want to know what I think? The small chips are worth 1,000, not the big ones.
Madness! Utter madness!
Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up.
Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it.
But wait! The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing.
Indeed, the victim did have the larger number of chips still.
Ah! Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add the points up for each side of the table.
The victim, Mrs. Smith, had 2,900 points and the defendant had 4,100 points.
Well now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all.
That's impossible!
My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning.
Ah!
Now, Mr. Riley, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there to the scene of the crime, weren't you? Ah!
Order! Order! It appears that our defendant has lost his motive, and Mr. Wright supposed the defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves... Excuse me, what is it, Mr. O'Reilly?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see,
See what, Mr. O'Reilly? Do we see?
in that and there was a cheat. don't know what you're talking about, pigs.
Cheat? You don't mean a trick?
Wait, or do you mean a scam? They're all the same thing. Yes, there was a cheat in the last hand. This is why game ends with chips as they are. Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case has certainly taken a turn for the interesting. Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand. The last hand, both men had full house. There is only 4 of each card in deck from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. Next moment game becomes argument. The defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith. It is a very long tutorial. It is. Because it not only serves as a tutorial, but also serves like as a plot device for why Phoenix isn't a defense attorney. So really, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought there's another cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers. A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make in my experience.
That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics.
Mr. Gavin? What's a full house?
Lawyers these days, you don't know your poker.
I can't say this bodes well for your case or your career. What is this? Some kind of secret court poker thing? Justice. You know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes? Oh, yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, 3 makes 3 of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and a 3 of a kind. That's a full house. Eat your hamburgers, Apollo. Oh, that's also a thing. In this game, we're actually getting what Phoenix and Maya actually want to get. Because... reasons. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it?
Wait, we get ramen in this game?
Yes, we do.
You can see each player's hand in this photo.
What is it, Pix? What is it? Also, I do know how to play poker. Mandatory when one of the board game's activities, like every 2 times a year, was to hold Texas Hold'em tournaments. Wow, they both have full houses.
We forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat.
The defense may cross-examine the witness. If you did cheat the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand? Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? Yeah, I know. Felix is just that good. I mean, it could be worse. It could be Mo. I do prefer the parrot to Mo. and Trillo. And really every other character in that case. How is it clear? Well, the defendant, he played a fifth ace. A fifth ace? I still remember both hands very well. Smith's hand has 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's too.
Obviously cheating was afoot, or perhaps, should I say, a hand?
Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke.
Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony, please.
Yeah, but the 2 decks are in 2 different colors. That being said, the picture we see here doesn't show a 5th ace. This isn't correct, this is correct, this is correct, and that is correct. That's a clover. It appears the witness was mistaken.
Mistaken? But my name?
Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony.
That's the photo of the chips, is it not?
Justice, perhaps you have explained your point in a way the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point.
Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony?
Ms. O'Reilly, in your testimony you made a following claim. Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the thing is, Christoph is the best attorney in the city. But Phoenix specifically asked for Apollo, despite also being friends with Christoph. So Christoph is, like, you know, a little bit salty, just a tiny bit salty about being passed up for a rookie.
That makes sense.
But as you can see, the victim's hand clearly only had 2 aces.
Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question.
Take a little look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also has 2 aces in hand. Where's his 5th ace? I see cheating, alright, and it's going on right here in this courtroom. Yeah, exactly, Pix.
2 aces in each player's hand makes for a total of 4 aces. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, police! It is true, I have seen it. The 5th ace. That was cheating, I swear to you. That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin? Who knows what lies in store for us for the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion.
What might that be, Mr. Gavin?
If you don't mind, perhaps you might examine the actual cards.
The cards?
Mr. Payne?
Yes!
The player's hand that night was set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court. Yeah, I know. That is true, Pix. You could also say that Francisca and both Francisca, all the other prosecutors are professional, except for, you know, like Francisca whipping people, but that's besides the point. Apart from that, she was always professional. Same with Godot, always professional. And then you have from Manfred, who can just burn in the pits of hell.
Very well, the prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine?
The victim's cards or the defendant's cards? If these cards don't prove cheating what's going on, nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? I would I can't see it quite clearly, but like, is there a... That's a square. Is that hearts? I can't see if that is hearts or not. Let's take the defendant's victim's hands first. If the victim's hands have changed over the course of the witness testimony, the defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards. Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would.
Very well.
Well, time's a wasting. Get to it, Justice. Blah, 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 blah. What? Your Honor, look at this. One of the victim's cards. The back has a different color. That's impossible. But I put that card in the right hand. Ah! What was that, Miss O'Reilly? No, yet I merely said that I have... Your Honor. Mr. Gavin, yes? Tell me, what is the easiest way to catch a cheat at poker? To cheat? I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say? The dealer. Wait, you mean this witness, Miss O'Reilly? She is the cheater. A professional wager? Yet. Order! Order! Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. I mean, of her mistake. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard. Ergo, Miss Olga O'Reilly conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Shadi Smith. Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim.
What?
Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, are you? Time for justice! There were only 3 people in the room at the time of the incident, and if Mr. Wright wasn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, of murder. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly?
It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice? Your Honor, it seems you're presented with a new possibility to the court. One suggests a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith. And that means?
up with?
It's just on the carpet. Just water.
It was on the floor there too. Is there a sock or something then? Whiskey down your throat.
That was water. Excuse me. I'm going to just mute myself up. I'm fine. Don't worry. And it wasn't your fault, Pix. And no, Mina, we don't need more stroop waffles, especially now that we're on the low-carb diet. That is my fault for giggling while trying to drink. Don't worry, Pix. Ah, gods. Hello, Questcottle. Oh, I'm sorry if I blew any of your ears out with that coughing fit. Oh, okay, I'm fine. Whew. It's a good thing that was not any of like whiskey, because that would be bad. That would be expensive, but this was just water. No, not a Padre figurine. No, I refuse. I don't mind Nero, but I do mind her in the Christmas outfit. And hello there,
We already have
Nine.
Nero.
Oh yeah, we do. Okay, I'm fine. And that means this court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
Yeah, what?
I did it. I held it out. I see no point in prolonging this trial for this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries. Mr. Wright? You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet.
What nonsense is the defendant spewing now?
Think. One of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means?
No, what are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising his objections when you're about to get off the hook. Ridiculous!
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. But here's Maya eating a cheeseburger. Maya, yes! Oh my god, I love that emote. Maya eating a cheeseburger. I didn't like see it first, but yeah, just like zooming it in makes me see it. That is amazing. Does it show? Yes, it does show in my chat on these there. Should I be afraid? Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game of that fateful night. As was said before, we alternate between two decks of cards at night.
That was said before.
The two decks at the clubs with different colored backs were blue and red. One color per deck. Why use different colored backs? We use the same color. If we use the same color, the two decks might be mixed. So you use different colors and still they got mixed up? We used the red deck for the last game. I see, but that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression you were using the blue cards. Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards.
Whatever. In the end, one card was of the wrong mix. One color got into the mix. Which means there was cheating.
Yes, a card slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises two serious questions. Apollo?
Yes?
Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the last card swapped? Was the card swapped? When? There are three broad possibilities here. One, it could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder.
Well, yeah! Thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swapped.
Oh? It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, or it might not be. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? Everyone knows that they have two decks, because this is common knowledge. But we still have this, like, because the colors are the decks are two different colors. Yeah, you can. I mean, the most thing, because Olga says, like, she saw the things, it has to be after the murder. Perhaps it happened after the murder?
What's that? Ridiculous! What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly!
Yes, but tell me, how do you swap a cards during a game? I'll take silly over impossible.
Take it from me, Sam! There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible.
Oh? Even when the backs of those cards are different color? If you pull that up during a game, you would caught in no time.
Oh.
Quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown. After the murder.
Okay, this is going a little bit past silly and straight into crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game is over? Who would do that?
Well, who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us.
There's another.
Well, yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who will swap the red card for the blue card? That is true, Pix. My throat needs more water because it is murder, and I'm looking forward to getting rid of Miss Winston Payne for someone else. Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only two remain in the room, alive that is. The defendant, Miss Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga O'Reilly. Okay, so who was it that swept the card for a blue? It could have been Phoenix. It could be, like... Do we have the floor plans yet? We don't. Why, it must have been Olga who was off the cards. She was trying to cover up the evidence for cheating. That does make some sense. Sorry, but there's a problem with that explanation. Oh, the swapped card from the wrong... The swapped card was from the wrong deck. Yes, a blue card was stuck into a red hand. Mixing a card from the wrong deck when the backs are different colors? Remember that you're talking about Olga, really? She was the dealer. Do you really think she would have made such a novice mistake? Actually, I have trouble imagining the judge making that mistake. Give it a little thought, Apollo. Right! Okay, the then it has to be someone else. The ones who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Right, of course. And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga really either.
What are you suggesting?
That's hardly a logical conclusion, I admit. As the defense, I think it will only make sense for you to name Miss O'Reilly at this point. Yes, I know, but she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the kind of mistake of swapping in the wrong color card.
And if this card was swapped during the game, it would be obvious. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright?
Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking of how much fun this is.
Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card was the defendant and it wasn't Miss O'Reilly, then who was it?
Yeah. Well, that's a question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see the case take a new direction.
A new direction?
Well, we'll find that indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone, well, they made two crucial mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us what the first was swapping the wrong card? Well, because the one who did the swap didn't know two colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card. Right. The person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So, they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in.
But there is one problem. According to our court case record, that person doesn't exist.
True. Not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. Though, it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime.
What?
I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright.
This trial has proceeded on the one central assumption, namely, that at the time of the incident there were only 3 people in that room.
I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption.
The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court.
Well, I suppose that is a problem, yes.
Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Very well. The trial will resume in 30 minutes. 20 minutes.
Apparently, Neg was a problem.
This Justian Pix is such a racist.
Apparently. Stop laughing.
Stop laughing! I am evil!
Ow. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim that there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well, now, I think you would know the answer to that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Christoph. Justice? Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ha! You're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. That is a picture of my daughter in there. She is a treasure. I'm just surprised to hear that you had a daughter.
That's the Hat Kid.
That is the Hat Kid, yes. That's Trucy Wright. And she is amazing. She's a treasure. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? Well, what do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think that I might cheat. No, I never! Honest, but it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. You see, poker's all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding! That witness, for instance, Miss Aurelia. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Oh, no. Come on, who'd notice that? Words, habits, twitches. All information for this, it's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will. Soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should. I haven't. You should know. I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. My, power? I had no idea my court of steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. Oh, this is amazing.